I'm going to start today by providing some encouraging trends that we've seen in violent crime in Louisville. As of today, we have 71 criminal homicides compared to 102 on this date last year. That's a 30% reduction. We still have a long way to go, but it's promising that we are at a 30% reduction at this point from where we were last year. We also have a 50% clearance rate this year currently, compared to a 35% clearance rate last year. So again, it's very promising that we're seeing a 15% reduction or 15% increase in our clearance rate. And as we move towards the end of the year and into 2026, the clearance rate, currently at 50%, will continue to climb. But those numbers, while encouraging, they mean nothing to the families of the victims of homicide. Last year, there were 143 criminal homicides. We also have over 800 cold cases going back to the 1960s. Those families, their encouragement is they want justice for their family. The fact that we are making improvements, that's great, but those families of previous homicides, they still want justice for their family member who was killed. We had 3 people killed in Louisville this last Wednesday, and I'm here to discuss 2 of those cases in a little bit more detail because they involve the death of 2 young mothers. We still have not made an arrest on either of these 2 cases. The first case involved the homicide of Miss Williams that occurred at 10th and Chestnut. She was 24 years old. She was walking her 7-year-old to the bus stop to catch the bus to go to school. There were dozens of school children at that intersection waiting to catch a bus to go to school. Miss Williams was the target of that homicide. I feel very confident in saying that. You've seen the photo we put out of the suspect wearing a red hoodie. I know it's a poor photo. That is the only photo we've been able to obtain from the scene of our suspect who was the shooter. Our children should feel safe getting out of their house, going to the bus stop, going to school. When I say that Miss Williams was the target, we have reviewed surveillance video. It shows our suspect in the red hoodie display a firearm, take aim, and fire in the direction of Miss Williams multiple times. I feel, again, very confident in saying that she was the target of that homicide. The other homicide that occurred later that day was the homicide of Miss Offutt at 41st and Broadway. She is a mother of 3, and she was pregnant with a son when she was killed. She was standing in the parking lot of a market with her boyfriend at a time when 2 groups of what appear to be juveniles or young adults approached each other, exchanged words, and one of those individuals displayed a firearm, firing it towards the other group, but unintentionally struck Miss Offutt. She was an innocent bystander. She was not part of either of the 2 groups that met on that market parking lot. She was there with her boyfriend. We know that through surveillance video, there were eyewitnesses to both of these homicides. We need those eyewitnesses to be able to talk to us, to tell us firsthand what they witnessed at those 2 incidents. Our community can't stand for this. We need these eyewitnesses to come forward so we can get these killers off the street. Police are often the face of combating violent crime. And while that is true, there are at least 4 other partners that we need to combat violent crime: the judicial, the legislative, and the community. At a minimum, those 4 partners need to come together and say we've had enough and we're going to fix the violent crime problem in our city, each with their own perspective and respective parts that they play in combating that problem. All of these partners, including the community, judicial, and legislative, have joined with LMPD in saying we are ready to change and make this problem go away. Eyewitnesses are crucial in a homicide investigation. Outside of physical evidence, we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that someone committed this act. If there's a lack of physical evidence, it makes eyewitness testimony crucial in identifying and prosecuting these people and getting them off the street in a court of law and putting them in prison. We can't take the word on the street or hearsay as credible eyewitness information. While it is helpful and it points us in the right direction, ultimately we need a first-hand witness to come forward and say that they witnessed what they saw and tell us that and testify in a court of law so that person can be punished for what they did. We understand that the public is sometimes reluctant to talk to the police out of fear of reprisal. And while I say that's not accurate, I would be remiss if I said it is a factor. But what we need is for the community to start standing up to these people and saying enough is enough. We are going to come forward and we are going to tell the police what you did and that we saw you do it. These families deserve answers. And if it were your family member who was killed and you knew that the people in the community knew who did it, wouldn't you want them to come forward? So again, if you were a victim or your family was a victim of a homicide and people knew, you would want them to come forward. And we're asking you to do the same thing. If you saw these acts take place, to tell us what you saw. If you don't talk, you're allowing these killers to get away with murder. Questions?
Are there any links between the two cases?
Between the 41st Street and Broadway and 10th and Chestnut. We do not believe there are. The question was, do we believe there's any links between these two cases? At this time, we think they are two completely separate incidents. As I said, Miss Williams was the target of that homicide. Miss Offutt was not the target. She was an innocent bystander. We've heard that there are social media posts trying to link these two incidents as being related. We've obtained no direct information from anyone that these two incidents are related. They were two separate incidents, and any statement otherwise has not been conveyed to the homicide unit.
Lieutenant, when you say Ms. Williams, you believe she was targeted, does that mean you also may know what a motive was for that shooting?
The question is, we believe Ms. Williams was the target, but do we also have a motive? At this time, again, the motive is still the ultimate question as to why someone did this. We have not been able to arrest a suspect in this case and ask them what their motive was. I say that she was the target of this homicide after reviewing the surveillance video. In my opinion, it is clear that the shooter directly targeted Ms. Williams, taking aim at her and firing shots at her from a good distance away with no other targets nearby. No other innocent bystanders were struck by gunfire, even though there were dozens of children in the immediate area. Again, that's my assumption that she was the target of this homicide.
Was there any interaction from the surveillance video that you seen between Ms. Williams and the suspect?
So the question was there any interaction between our suspect and Ms. Williams? And to that, I would say that the video that we have obtained, that is very good video, does not have audio. So we do not know if they were speaking to each other or what was being said. It's just a video surveillance that shows the interaction from the suspect and from Ms. Williams approaching, holding the hand of her 7-year-old daughter and walking her to the bus stop.
Do you think that the shooting that happened or the shots that were fired on the first day of school were also maybe connected to the shooting that happened in Williams?
So the question was the shooting that happened on the first day of school, was that related to Ms. Williams? At this time, we believe that obviously there were two shootings on two separate days. There is some connection in the fact that we did initially get information that the shooter on last Wednesday was also the shooter from the previous the bus stop shooting. Because of information we obtained from the scene, we were able to detain that individual, interview that individual, review surveillance video, and determine through his clothing description as well as his statements that that's the individual that we detained was not the shooter from last Wednesday. The First Division did already have an investigation into the previous shooting, and they were able to place charges on that individual for the previous shooting that occurred on the first day of school. The individual that was charged for the first day of school, he was present at the scene. We interviewed him. We were able to determine through video surveillance that he was there, but we can clearly see in the video that he was not the shooter this last Wednesday.
We've heard about people saying that this is all part of like gang issues and gang problems in Louisville. Is that something that LMPD is looking at or that LMPD believes has something to do with this?
Obviously, the question is this a gang-related issue? Again, without having identified and made arrests on suspects, it's too early to say in the investigation if this is gang-related. Louisville does have a youth gang problem and involved in violent crime, so that would be an assumption at this time that it is gang-related, but it's just too early to tell in this investigation if these two incidents are gang-related. The question is, if the suspect is watching this report, do we have a message for him? Yes, please come talk to us. Tell us what you did. The same message I would give to the numerous eyewitnesses that were there at both of these incidents. please come talk to us. I know there is a fear for your safety about talking to the police. This is where we need the community to change their process and not be afraid to talk to us. And the community needs to be sick and tired of what's going on to these children, these mothers, these sons, these daughters, and these husbands, and to come and say enough is enough. We are going to start telling you, the police, what you saw, so that way we can arrest these individuals and prosecute them in a court of law under laws that the legislature have passed to make stiffer penalties and make these people not part of the community who have no business, because all they do is seek violence